I've got a few things here and I'm going to show you just how to make a really simple book for children. They could do this if they're experienced with sewing. I've got some sheets of paper. I've already folded them, 5 of those. I've got some little sort of bulldog clips. I've got some yarn that I'm going to use. I've got a nice chunky needle. This is a little lump of beeswax, which isn't necessary but is helpful. And I've got an awl, which is a pointy thing, a poking device that I've got inside my cork for safekeeping. So the first thing to do is line up all your bits of paper together. Then you can use the clips to hold them in place. I'm going to use 4. So I've got my 4 clips, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and that means I've got a nice spine that's ready to get some holes in it. I'm going to make a little mark at 1.5 centimetres in, and then I'm going to do a dot at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and that leaves me another gap of about 1.5 centimetres at the top. But I just do it into the cork tile. It's good to have a bit of an angle, but it also means that you're keeping, if children are doing this, it's a bit safer because they don't have any fingers on the jaggy side. And then when you've finished with the awl, you can just, pop it back in the cork and you've got all of your holes ready to stitch. So I'm going to take some yarn that is about 2.5 times the size of my book. So I've got my beeswax, which is obviously quite an interesting thing to use with children. They're always fascinated about bees and what they do, so you could always learn a bit about beeswax. And I'm just running my yarn here through the beeswax just to give it a bit of a coating, and that makes it stronger and it makes it slide through more easily. So to start off, I'm just going to clip an end here. Don't need a knot just yet. We're just going to clip it in place so that it doesn't move. And then, also I forgot to turn in the ends of my little clips. This is when it becomes important to do that. I'm just going to basically do some really simple sewing. And the beauty of it is, because I've already made the holes, I'm not having to push too hard with the needle. I'm just going in and out of each hole in turn. So now that I've reached the bottom, I'm just going to go back the other way. So I've finished my stitching, and it's quite nice that I've finished at the top here. You can see why you need that extra bit of yarn. And I'm just going to unclip that end, and now what I can do really simply is just tie these 2 ends together. Like this, just a basic knot, and then just trim off the ends so that there's only about 1 centimetre left. You can take off all of your little clips, and now you have a little book. You could also do this with a fancy piece on the cover. For example, I had been doing this autumn print. I could just have included that as like my final piece on the outside, and that would let me put that in. The other thing I can do, if I realise later that I wanted to actually have a cover, is just to stick that in with some PVA glue just down here on that spine. Lots of options.